Is your copywriting killing your project? Probably. It's a little patented Amy optimism there for you. So, killer copywriting, as in killer, not like awesome, not the good kind of killer copywriting. What does it look like? How do you fix it? How can you get our help? Well, let's start with a little horror story. Horror story starts, as so many do, on the toilet. I was in the bathroom, I was reading on my iPhone, as you do, and I came across a link to this Kickstarter. Now, the first thing I noticed was that it's by Federal Donuts, and I know Federal Donuts. And the second thing I noticed was that it had only $12,000 out of $150,000. And yes, they had 45 days left, but if you do the math, that requires insane momentum to get that kind of money. $150,000 is a huge ask. I noticed this before I even figured out what the project was, and I was intrigued. $150,000 Kickstarter by a company I know, that's really interesting. Intriguing, anyway. Now, Federal Donuts is a local restaurant, and they make incredible chicken and even better donuts. So I was really, really curious, and I'm inclined already to appreciate what they're doing. So that I read it, and I didn't understand it, so I read it again. And I still didn't understand it, so I read it again. And I was still like, what? Why? Here I am, extremely motivated, already predisposed to, like what they're doing. Someone who gives a lot of money to Kickstarters, and by the way, who's really into charity. And I didn't really understand what they were doing, and I didn't know why it was on Kickstarter, or what the money was going to go for, or why I should help. So, because I love their chicken, and I love their donuts, I gave them the benefit of the doubt, and I started tweeting at them some copywriting advice. This is what I do, And surprisingly, to me, they were, one, gracious, and two, offered to swap donuts and chicken for some copywriting advice. And once I figured out what the copywriting project, what the Kickstarter project actually was, I was more than happy to help. And also, again, their food is delicious, and they brought it to us. Score. So I sat down with Felicia, and we looked at their copy. We looked at it on two levels. Individual words, sentences, paragraphs. This is what people think about when they think about copywriting. Headlines, so on. And then structure, flow, and what's inside, which, believe it or not, is actually way more important. Still, let's start by looking at the individual words, sentences, and paragraphs, because it reveals just what a problem there is here. So, a direct appeal to fund the first restaurant that will donate 100% of its profits to caring for vulnerable Philadelphians. Well, that kind of says what it is, right? But a direct proposal, a direct appeal, a direct proposal for marriage to you. Does that catch your interest? We've got scattered phrases throughout here. I've highlighted just a few of the worst. Is a joint venture. Intends to. Lease fit out staff. Is this for a business? Why is it on Kickstarter? Profits generated. Will flow. Headline. Assets. Ooh, not a good headline. Projections call for annual revenues, blah, blah, blah. This is what we call a word salad. But not like a tasty salad that has walnuts and blue cheese and stuff in it. No, this is iceberg lettuce with some sort of dressing from a bottle. This isn't in the words. Deadly vagary. And it exhibits so many of the classical copywriting mistakes, killer copywriting mistakes that kill your copy, that I see everywhere. The idea that copywriting is laying out the fact that you should use big words because it sounds impressive, that the passive voice, well, it just comes leaking out your ears, or rather, the passive voice is leaked from hearing orifices. Abstract nouns and verbs. Iria. The project this, the project that, the project this. Me. Freckle will do this, Freckle will do that. Static verbs. Is not your friend. Is ain't your friend. Is will never be your friend. And also a little bit of multiple stakeholders saying, well, we need to say this, and we can't forget to say that, and everyone has to have their say. These are the things that kill copy. And of course, they are the things that you're taught in school for like 15, 16 years to do. So let's look at the before, which is terrible. No offense to my friends at Federal Donuts. And the after, which is actually quite good, and which, by the way, I didn't write. I helped Felicia understand what she should do, and she ran with it. So if you just take a moment and read this, just give it a skim, you will see what a huge difference we're talking before and after. But let's look a little closer at an individual paragraph. So the opening paragraph is critically important. An old copywriting saying goes, the job of your headline is to get people to read your first sentence. The job of your first sentence is to get people to read your second sentence. The job of your second sentence is to get people to read the third sentence, and so on and so forth. This is true. Ask yourself, is this first sentence doing its job? Let me read it to you, the way that it reads in my mind. Gotta take a breath first. Whew. Rooster Soup Company is a joint venture of Federal Donuts, Philadelphia's homegrown fried chicken and donut shop, and Broad Street Ministry, a broad-minded faith community providing social services and meals to vulnerable Philadelphians. Whew. Is that a sentence that entices you to read the sentence after it? Leaving aside the fact that this should probably be like 3 sentences. It's full of static verbs. It starts with one. It starts with a noun, no action. It follows up with a static verb, has the passive voice, a partnership between, blah, 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 joint venture of. Nothing's happening in those verbs. There's description, no action. Homegrown fried chicken and donut shop. Too many adjectives. Broad-minded. I'm sure that Broad Street Ministry is broad-minded, but in this case, in this sentence right here, it doesn't mean anything to us. Who's the star of this paragraph? Who's doing something? No one is doing anything in this paragraph. It is one paragraph, one sentence, and it has everything in there. It basically, if this were a mystery, there wouldn't be a mystery. Finally, what really galled me, what made me think, oh, I have to help them, was my natural reaction to this paragraph was, wait, it is a company that helps Broad Street provide meals? It already exists? Why is it on Kickstarter? This is really not the reaction you want to have from your most supportive readers. So if you take these problems, static verbs, passive, blah, 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 and turn them around. Okay, well, we have static verbs, which means we need action verbs, not is, but something that does something, which means you have to have an object and a direct object, an indirect object, and a subject, or some other parts of speech. Active voice, from passive voice to active. Instead of description, action. Instead of vague words like broad-minded, we need juicy, concrete words. Who's the star? Let's make it the reader. Trust me on this one, you can never go wrong by making the reader the star of your opener. Create a sentence rhythm, as in each sentence must have a rhythm, and there must be a rhythm between sentences, which, by the way, requires more than one sentence. And disclose as needed. Don't try to... I'm making hand gestures here trying to show shoving everything into a tiny spot. Don't try to shove everything into your first paragraph. Disclose as needed. Tempt, intrigue, get them to read the second sentence. There needs to be a second sentence, but then get them to read it. So if you follow these rules, you might come up with a much superior paragraph like this one. In Philadelphia, there is a place, 5 places actually, where you can get the best fried chicken and donuts of your life at the same time. It's called Federal Donuts, and all we do is make donuts, fried chicken, and coffee. Just feel the difference. It's a story. It's opening a story. It's setting the scene, just like the first panel of a comic or the opening scenes of a movie. It's like, all right, well, the really cool stuff hasn't happened yet, but here's where we are. Look around you. Set the tone. Now, if you zoom out and look at the larger sample I showed you again, take a moment to read the before and the after again, and then we'll talk about it. I have highlighted some of the mistakes in red, but not all of them. Frankly, if I highlighted all the mistakes in red, the entire left portion would be red, except for a few simple words. You'll notice how the second paragraph in the after leads from the first. It doesn't repeat it. It continues a story that the reader can visualize. Because we buy whole chickens. Because we buy, simple, action verb. We buy whole chickens, nouns that you can visualize. We have backs and bones we can't use and have to pay to have them taken away and disposed of. About 1,000 pounds of chicken per week, in fact, from the highest quality, air-chilled chickens that are raised on an all-vegetable diet without antibiotics. This tells you something. It's better than the verb intend. It's better than the description gourmet. It's better than the word using or even delicious, inventive, capital, lease, fit out, staff. Now you might think that the last paragraph of the before is actually compelling. What if people knew that simply by buying lunch, they'd be helping improve the life of a Philadelphian in need? But are you ready for that? Are you ready for that conclusion? Not to mention it's a bit vague. So instead, the after keeps going. Stuffing a landfill with 1,000 pounds of nutrition every single week is not only absurd, it's twice as ridiculous when people are going hungry here in Philadelphia. Doesn't that make you want to read the next sentence? So if we zoom out a bit more and look at the structure of these paragraphs instead of the individual words in them. The first paragraph, as I said, sets the scene. Where are we? We're at a fried chicken and donut shop, and also they make coffee. What's going on? They're throwing out 1,000 pounds of chicken a week. Not chicken that's been gnawed on and left on a plate or dumped in the trash, but fresh chicken that's never been touched, that simply isn't used by them. That's the problem. And when you amp it up, whole chickens, backs and bones, dispose of 1,000 pounds of nutrition every week when people are hungry. The pain is like, oh my God, this is absurd. Twice as ridiculous, in fact. And this is when people really get interested. So if we zoom out a little bit more, now I cannot go through the entire Kickstarter copywriting that we worked together on because we're talking a couple thousand words. And it's huge. And I literally can't fit it in this little video box. So instead, let's take a quick glance at it. Here, let's scroll. Scroll, scroll, scroll. Keep scrolling, actually. It goes on and on and on. However, this is not one structure. This is a structure that repeats. And the structure that repeats look like this. I've taken the lead sentences out of several paragraphs and cut the rest because now that it's rewritten, instead of each paragraph starting Rooster Soup Company is, Rooster Soup Company intends, etc., we actually have topic sentences that tell you something. So let's just look at them on their own as a structure. In Philadelphia, there's a place. That's the scene. Because we buy whole chickens, we have backs and bones, stuffing a landfill with 1,000 pounds of nutrition. At first, we thought we would make soup to feed the hungry. Philadelphia is the poorest large city in one of the hungriest congressional districts. Every week, 1,200 people come to Broad Street Ministries' Hospitality Collaborative, but the demand at Broad Street grows every day. That's when we realized turning delicious chicken into money is something we're good at. We want to turn our practically free chicken stock into tasty soups that you can buy, and we'll donate 100% of the profit from every bowl to Broad Street's Hospitality Collaborative. That's how we're asking for your help. Isn't that better? And you'll see that there's a pattern here. Set the scene. Problem. Well, we thought we would donate soup. Ooh, but that's not actually a solution because there's still more problem. Oh, people go to Broad Street where they can get fed and other things as well because it's a very nice charity. And they don't like being called a charity, but that's neither here nor there. Is that a solution? No, because the demand is ever growing. And if you could read the entire text, it says, funding is their biggest problem. Funding is diminishing. Demand is growing. Problem, problem, problem. Oh my God, this is horrible. But we can help. We can turn chicken into money. And we have all these leftovers. So we would like your help to open a restaurant where we can turn what we would pay to throw away into delicious soups, sell them, and donate 100% of the profit to a local collaborative that is helping people in the most respectful and helpful way possible. This, even without all those extra words, shows you the shape of what's happening, makes it compelling, and makes you want to act, doesn't it? So how did that work? Well, I when Felicia came to our office, the first thing I told her was, well, infomercials have a bad rap. If infomercials didn't sell pieces of shit, if their products actually did what they said, everyone would laud infomercials for the amazing genius selling machines they are. And for all the years I've watched infomercials, read classic copywriting ads, direct mail, old newspaper ads, and whatnot, I've noticed that there's a pattern here. There's a formula, and the formula is PDF. Pain, dream, fix. Pain, of course, is the, oh my God, that's horrible, ow, part that we've been talking about. Dream is the promise of what could be better if that pain didn't even exist anymore. Fix is the method by which you will eliminate the pain. And at the end there, you've got C, call to action. Now, if you look at this pattern, look at this text, pain, dream, fix, call to action. Now, this structure is repeated throughout the Kickstarter because if people don't respond to the first call to action, if they want to know more, they'll keep reading. They'll read, why is the money needed? What will we do with it? And will you please help us? And so on and so forth. It's a cycle. And that is how you persuade people to act. Because unlike other types of copywriting where you sit down, you think you're going to convey the facts, what you do with pain, dream, fix, and call to action is actually help the reader discover it for themselves. You don't just say, this widget does X. Because what if your reader or listener isn't in the mood to think about X? What if they don't realize that X is a problem or that X is actually a solution that they need to a problem they don't even know they have? So what you do is you lead them along the logical path to see, oh, this is a real problem. Ow, that's bad. Okay, well, it could be better if blah, blah, blah. How can we do it? Do I want to help? Or, I have a problem. I didn't realize that was a problem. Wow, that really is a big problem. Ooh, imagine what life would be if I didn't have that problem at all, if everything worked, if my copy was amazing. Oh, you can help me with my copy? I can solve this forever? How much? You lead them along. This is a rhetoric, by the way. Aristotle knew it. Ron Popeil knows it. Classic copywriters of yore knew it, but we seem to have lost it somewhere along the line. So again, the before. What are the reactions to the before? And I've talked to many people about their reactions to this Kickstarter. I wasn't the only one who was like, I can't even get through all these words, or whatever. Why should I even read it? It just goes on and on. Forget it. I'm going to hit the back button. I can't tell you how many people I talked to about this project who were like, I didn't even understand what it was, so I didn't bother. And then there were the people who were like, well, I did read it. Why don't they just give away the soup? This must be some kind of scam. 100% profit. Sure, yeah. That's after what kind of expenses? I know exactly what they're doing. So later on in the current Kickstarter, because Felicia and I talked about these reactions, each of these things, each of these doubts, which by the way is a type of pain, you address it, you say, well, isn't this a blah, blah, blah? And then you show, no, actually it's not. This pattern works for everything. So since Felicia and I sat down, we spent, I don't know, an hour maybe. I trained her something about copy. I pointed out specific stuff. And then she went and did the rewrite, and then I just suggested some edits. She said, since the rewrite, we've received 0 questions about the what of what we were doing, and more questions about how to help spread the word to make Rooster a reality. 0 questions about the what, questions about how to help spread the word instead. That's pretty great. They've also done pretty well with their fundraising, which I cannot, of course, cannot take credit for. However, Felicia says that my advice and our joint rewrite has allowed them to speak far more clearly, write better pitch letters, give better presentations to potential backers, and add all of the specifics that we had in our head and didn't put into the original copy, because now they have a framework for it. So this improved copy has not only helped persuade people coming to the Kickstarter page, but help them present it, help them know what to say, how to get people on board. That is the power of good copywriting, because if you use the PDF formula, it's actually not about copy. Copy is just a written version. That is persuasion. That is rhetoric. So tell me honestly, have you been watching this video, going through this presentation, going, oh my God, that's so familiar. My copy is killer. Not in a good way either. it's passive, it's vague, it's generic, it's poorly structured, it's confusing, and what am I going to do about it? Is there any way that my copy could end up as good as the after? Because the before hits me where it hurts. Well, there's good news. There is a way that you can get to the after a lot faster than it took me 15 plus years to learn how to do this. While Alex and I don't have any books or workshops on this topic, it's part of 30 by 500, but a small part. You can get our expertise turned at your copy, directly, your specific. Not selling an ebook here. I am selling an unheard of specialty package with coaching tailored to your copy with both me and Alex together, and up to 90 minutes of rewriting and edits. And you can keep whatever we write for you for yourself. This is unheard of. Never offered it. Probably not going to offer it again, simply because it's too time consuming. Now, the reason that we're offering it is because of this. Felicia said that my style of critique was very specific. I told her why each item was not as effective. I made precise suggestions. She pirated my sentences. I even helped edit her rewrite. And the reason that we did this, the reason I did this for Felicia, along with a bit of help from Alex and lucky girl Patrick McKenzie, was because I believe in what Federal Donuts is doing. This is an amazing project. They're turning what would be waste, what would not only would be thrown away, but what they have to pay to throw away, into soup that they can sell, which will then create a recurring revenue stream for the Broad Street Hospitality Collaborative. That's amazing. If you're at all interested in charity, you know that charity is sustained off one-time gifts, and that's a lot of work and overhead. Meanwhile, the need is constant. So Federal Donuts is going to create a recurring revenue stream, like a software as a service, to help those who are needy in the neighborhood. And that to me is amazing. And that's why, if you want Alex and me to coach you through your copy, to help rewrite your copy, then you can back the Rooster Soup Company for $750. And if and only if the Kickstarter is fully funded, you will pay $750 and we will help you. All you have to do is back the project, pick the $750 copywriting level, and we will help you. You will get up to 2 hours of our time while you help the needy and less fortunate. Alex and I don't pocket a single dollar. We are simply trying to help make Rooster Soup Company happen because Philadelphia needs it. And if it works, it'll be an incredible model to move charity forward in 2015 and beyond. So there's just 10 slots. That's a lot of time for Alex and me, so there's just 10. I suspect they'll sell. Remember, the Kickstarter ends, so click below. Read through all of the copy. See what we did. See how it works. See how well it is persuasive and how it fits together. And back for $750. Pick the copywriting backer reward, and then we'll be in touch. And we'll help you implement Pain, Dream Fix, and of course the call to action for your copy.